the same thing with the wicking cup. In order to water all of these, this was even worse because the way the cups fit inside of each other, now I have little rocks in the bottom to keep them up, but I literally had to pull this cup out of the bottom cup, pour water in this cup, and then put this cup back inside of this cup to keep it watered. That's inefficient. With only 6 of these, that was quite annoying. So I'm not sure again that the double cup is really worth the effort compared. What's up? This is Danny with Growing Together, a garden story where beginner gardeners come to grow. In today's video, we're going to discuss summertime planting. Now it's hot. It's very hot. It does not seem like a good time to be putting anything into our raised beds, but fall is just around the corner. It's the middle of August, and those cooler temperatures are going to be hitting here in, well, 6 to 8 weeks for East Texas. But we need to get our starts in the ground now, in our raised beds right now, if we plan to have any kind of harvest in the fall. So today we're going to discuss the starts that I have going, how I got them going, and how I'm going to get them into the raised beds for a hopeful fall harvest. We had a rogue storm pop up the other evening, and the wind wreaked havoc on my shade cloth and even my string trellises. Got all that corrected today. Oh, and by the way, we got 0 drops. I mean, 0 drops of rain out of that storm. All it did was just wind blow everything, but I got all that corrected today. But I wanted to show y'all my cherry tomatoes are still really doing pretty well for the most part. I've been really hard pruning on these, just trying to thin them out. They're putting off tons and tons of suckers, and so trying to get those out of here. I did just do a harvest, so there's not a whole lot of color left on these plants, but there are a few that are coming ripe pretty soon. But the cherry tomatoes are doing great. And then this side over here got a few cherry tomatoes, and then you're going to start seeing huge holes. So these are all of my slicing tomatoes, and y'all, I think I'm done with slicers this year. I've got a couple of Cherokee carbons. I think a Cherokee purple. Maybe there was a Dr. Wish in there. I'm not sure, but just wanted to show y'all that while it is so hot out here and my slicing tomatoes are about done, it is time to get our fall starts in the ground so that we can hopefully have those blooming and ready to produce as the temperatures start to cool off. What you're looking at are the 3 different ways that I tried starting seeds this summer. Now, I've talked about this before, but summertime seed starting is just easy. Y'all, these seeds sprout so fast, so easy. They grow so fast and easy in the summertime. This is one reason why I really believe the summertime is a great time to learn how to start seeds. If you've already started some before, maybe it's a great way to try new techniques. So that's what I did this summer. I tried up here at the top, I tried a Wicking Cup Method. This is tried and true. Single pots, I use a square pot and a bottom tray, taking them out of the bottom tray for now. And then down here, the double cup method. So I'll actually start from top to bottom. The Wicking Cup, I think all 8 of them germinated. 7 of the 8 are looking very, very good. I cannot complain about the growth that I have on any of these plants. The only thing that I found with the Wicking Cup, I'm using a clear cup so that I can see how much water's in it. I don't want to get it up too high. I want to be able to let the little piece of string, the tomato string inside the bottom cup, draw the water into the actual cup with the soil in it. So I'm using a clear cup. So a couple things. One, I think the sunshine has caused a little bit of mold in the bottom. I'm not seeing any ill effect from that yet, but all of these look really well. The other thing is getting water into the bottom cup is not real user friendly. So I've got a small watering can, and what I have to do is just kind of push against it and pour the water in until I can see the level. And in this case, I've got 8 of these, so I've got to do that 8 times. Maybe if I had a way to water all of them at once with some kind of wicking tub, I don't know. But while all of these look fantastic and all of them germinated, the wicking cup seems to be a little more trouble than what it might be worth. Now, I'll jump down here to the bottom to the double cup method. I hear tons and tons of things about the double cup method, and it may work for a lot of people, but none of my plants look quite as healthy other than this zucchini, which is just going crazy. But you can see it's going crazy in all of them. I actually had to plant one of these because he just got too big. I couldn't hold him up any longer. So this one is actually going in the ground today. But none of these plants look to be quite as healthy as the wicking cup nor the single pot method. I did lose 2 of them. Germination, they just didn't happen. Could that be the seeds? Maybe so, but the only 2 that didn't come up, both came out of the double cup method. So maybe there's something to it. With all of these in the germination phase, I did spray the tops of them just to keep them moist. I wasn't so worried about the bottom moisture. I was just making sure to keep that seed moist. But we did get 6 of the 8 to germinate. The 4th of July is looking really well, as is this elite zucchini. The other 3 seemed, or other 4, I'm sorry, seem to be dragging a little bit behind. But the same thing with the wicking cup. In order to water all of these, this was even worse because the way the cups fit inside of each other. Now I have little rocks in the bottom to keep them up, but I literally had to pull this cup out of the bottom cup, pour water in this cup, and then put this cup back inside of this cup to keep it watered. That's inefficient. With only 6 of these, that was quite annoying. So I'm not sure, again, that the double cup is really worth the effort compared to the others, especially when I see that most of them haven't grown nearly like the other 2 methods. Now, that brings me to the tried and true. Single pot, I put these in a bottom tray. I was able to water all 8 of these at one time by simply pouring water in the bottom tray. Another thing to note, all 8 of these did sprout. All of them look really well. You'll notice I'm missing 1 zucchini. That's because it got so large, I had to go ahead and put it in a pot because I couldn't keep taking care of it in this small single pot. So I have it potted up over in the raised bed. But you can really see how much these have grown. They look fantastic. I mean, really, these are ready to go in the raised bed, and they are going in the raised bed. This is a Loxton Lass. The 4th of July's look really well. The Fred's tie-dye, which is another dwarf, look really fantastic. And of course, the elite zucchini is looking super fantastic as well. But my synopsis of all of this, and this is on a very small scale, how much easier is it just to have them in a single pot, water 8, actually my bottom trays hold 16 of these. I can water 16 of them at one time. How much easier is that than having to water each one of these individually? So maybe I'm missing something here, but to me, the double cup kind of doubles the effort, as does the wicking cup. Again, the wicking cup, I've seen some ideas on some wicking tubs, which makes more sense, and I want to try that in the spring. But the wicking cup and the double cup method doubled my effort when the single pots were so easy to water and the starts look super fantastic. They're all ready to go on the ground. The double cup, yeah, the zucchini's got to go, maybe that 4th of July, but none of the rest of those are even ready to go. So All of that to say, I really feel like tried and true single pot bottom tray is going to be my go-to. I will try this on a little bit larger scale in the spring, but I hate to say I'm going to be a little biased because that single pot in the bottom tray just seems to be the only way that I'm going to want to start seeds going forward. So my plan is to put the dwarf tomatoes back in the dwarf tomato bed, but I'm going to do it much, much differently than I did back in the spring. I'm looking at 6 tomato plants. Y'all, I think I had 15 dwarf tomato plants in this 1 by 2.5 raised bed in the spring, and it was a complete disaster. I tried to use stakes, that did not work. So this time I'm going to try the Florida weave, which I have my teeth post here. They're all painted up and ready to go. That'll be another video. I had to wait until I got them painted because I'm bougie like that. But the dwarf tomatoes for the fall are going to go in this bed again, but this time only 6 rather than 15. So I'm going to use the Florida weave, but I'm going to go ahead and get these in the raised bed. I will be using some organic fertilizer. Now this fertilizer in this bag, I have mixed in some bone meal as well as some blood meal, just to go on 3 different levels there. And of course, I'll water all of my transplants in after I have them buried into the soil of the raised bed. All right, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this with one of them, and then I will get the rest of them planted off camera. But this one here is a Loxton Lass. These 3 are Loxton Lasses. Those 3 are the Fred's tie-dye. But it's really simple. Now this bed does have drip, as you can see. Here's one of the emitters. So I want to go right on this emitter. Now each one of my emitters on my drip tape are 6 inches apart. So I'm going to try to give these about a foot, 1.5 feet between each one. But I want to plant right on one of the emitters. So I'm going to try to get most of this mulch out of the way. I have plenty more mulch when I'm ready for it. But dig me a little hole, one that I feel like this guy will fit in. I think the myth about burying them too deep or deeper than normal is kind of been blown. It actually sets you back maybe. So I kind of don't do that anymore. But I'm going to put a little bit of the fertilizer in the hole as well as just around everywhere. And then hopefully this guy will pop out for me on camera. You know, sometimes they don't want to cooperate, and he didn't, so he kind of came apart, but the roots look pretty good. That means I got to put some dirt back in the hole. So I'll get him in there, fill the hole back up, press him in. Hopefully all of those roots that we just saw break off will take off. I'm sure they will. They looked very, very good. And so that's really all there is to it, getting these tomatoes planted in our raised bed for a fall harvest. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish the other 5 in this bed. Later on, we'll talk about the Florida weave that I plan on using to support all of these dwarf tomatoes. We now have all of our dwarf tomatoes planted up. Again, this end is going to be the Loxton Lass. Y'all, my basil and lettuce is really doing well. Can't believe this lettuce is doing this well in this heat. But got the Fred's tie-dye down here on the end. So you can see all of those looking very well. I did go ahead and mulch them. Over here in a couple of the grow bags, I have a couple of the zucchinis, one there, one here, and I discovered that this drip line is not hooked up after I got him planted. The one right next to it doesn't have anything in it, and the drip line is hooked up. So yeah, be working on that soon. I did, these are black-eyed peas, and I did put more peas in that today. These are a cream pea. I'm not sure what that is. I'll be watering that in as well. And then I got some purple whole peas in this grow bag. Hopefully those will be coming up and getting ready. My okra still growing wild. And then I got another zucchini over here in this raised bed. Y'all, I'm trying to keep the zucchini spread out a little bit just in hopes that the squash vine borer don't get all of them. But this is a great start on a fall planting, as there will be more to come. I did not do all of those starts as all of them were not ready, but we got started with the dwarf tomatoes and the zucchini. Looking forward to harvesting these in just a couple of months. All right, y'all, so we got our starts in the ground, some of them anyway. I'll be going back and watering all those in. The drip irrigation is about to go off as well, but I wanted to just take a few moments with you this evening to show you that we've got to get these starts in the ground. We've got to prepare ourselves for a fall harvest. Although it's middle of August and it's 1,000,000 degrees outside, fall's just around the corner. It'll be here before we know it. The way time is passing here lately, it's gonna be cooler weather in the blink of an eye. But I wanted to show all of you that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know all the stuff to do, like, subscribe, all those good things. But one last thing, never stop learning, never stop growing. Thanks for watching. Now this double cup method, you just don't know about this mess. Double cup, double effort. Having to water each one of them one by one. That's just crazy. Tried and true, single pot. I think that's where it's at.